All right, while the whole world has been focused on Iran and Israel and America's intervention and the mass media frenzy of fake news and fabricated news and what's the real truth of this and what really happened, the beast system, the blueprint, the framework of the beast system is still steamrolling ahead. What am I talking about today? I'm going to show you a new report today wherein which Joe Rogan recently had a podcast, and he's breaking down the quote-unquote big, beautiful bill. You know, this bill that's passing through Congress. In his recent podcast, he points out sections that's buried in this bill that prohibits state and local governments from passing any laws regulating artificial intelligence for the next 10 years. Now, why is that? We're going to discuss that today. Also, there's a new report from The Hill. Now, this is a conservative outlet, keep in mind. I'm going to give you this title: Trump knocks down barriers around personal data, raising alarms. What is that about? We're going to talk about that. And then RFK Jr., the big promoter and health advocate that's in the Trump administration in the White House. Well, he is rattling a lot of cages today. Recently, he just announced that he wants all Americans, you, me, all of us, with a tracking device on our bodies within the next 4 years. We're going to talk about what the implications of that means, why Zuckerberg of Meta, Facebook, is personally hiring to create new superintelligence AI team. We're going to talk about that. And then J.D. Vance, the Vice President of the United States of America, recently issued a new warning. And then all of this is going to make sense when we close with this. He is warning the era of uncontested U.S. dominance is over. So we're going to cover all this on today's podcast. Let's go.
The following program is brought to you by friends and partners of End Time Headlines.
All right, what's going on, guys? Family, friends, listeners, viewers alike. This is End Time Headlines, news and headlines from a prophetic perspective. Today is Thursday, the 26th of June, the last Thursday of the month of June of 2025. We are fast approaching Independence Day on the U.S. calendar, and it's interesting the things that are coming to light. So today, before we ever get started on today's topics, I want you to do me a favor, hit that like button. If you're watching, listening, if you're able to hit that like button, go ahead and hit that like button. That's going to help us get eyes on our program. And go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that bell notification as well, so you can be benefited from us being alerted here on YouTube or wherever you may be watching this platform from. Of course, we welcome you guys on Apple and Spotify as well. Thank you for listening and viewing. I know some of you guys come over here and you go back and forth. You'll listen and you'll watch and then you'll listen. So we always appreciate you as well. And be sure to give us a good review if you find any value in our content as well. And listen, if you're new, we welcome you to the program. Again, I'm your host, Ricky Scaparo, the founder and the voice of End Time Headlines. Let us know that you're new and where you guys are joining us from. I will welcome you. And so will our admins. You'll see them in the chat. They have the little blue wrench on YouTube here in the chat on YouTube. So guys, listen, I don't know about you, but every channel, every program, every outlet is just, it's constant Iran, Israel, Iran, the nuclear program, the bombing of the nuclear program. This has been, and it of course, it's going to take front stage and center. There's so many things that that the media they want to put this out front, and it's like everything else just goes under the radar. So today, we're gonna show you some things that while everybody's distracted by what's going on with the Iran's nuclear program and the bombing of the facility and the whole war between Israel and Iran, and Trump declares and says that the war's over, and we're all looking to see if that's what's going to come of that, what's going to come to fruition of that. While everybody's focused on that, the beast system. Now, when I say the beast system, I always got to acknowledge that there may be somebody in here that has no clue what I'm talking about. Maybe you're new to Christianity. You're new to the Word of God. You just became born again. This is a reference to a system that will be put in place in the future during a period that scholars call the tribulation. Now, right around mid-trib, there's going to be, according to Daniel 9:27, most seasoned scholars and theologians will agree that there is a 7-year period called the 7-year tribulation. It's broke up in 42 months or 3.5 years, and then 42 months, 3.5 years. Right around the 42-month mark, or 3.5 years into this covenant. Now, again, this is Daniel 9:27. The Antichrist makes a covenant of peace with Israel and the surrounding nations. They will cry peace and safety. And then about midway, he breaks the covenant, invades Jerusalem, sets up his headquarters. He is then joined with an individual called the false prophet of Revelation 13. And together they will form a system which many of us has coined as the beast system. In that system, it will require all great, small, rich, free, poor, and bond, everybody on the face of the earth to take a mark in the right hand or in the forehead, in order to be enabled for you to buy, sell, or trade. Without this mark, you will be basically blacklisted from society, and it will be as if you didn't even exist. You would flat starve to death. And some people say, well, I'm going to live off the grid. Well, good luck with that, with the dystopian surveillance system, tracking system, and the government control that will be implemented is something on a scale that makes what we have today look like child's play. So, and then you've got the image of the beast that will be created that I have no doubts will be incorporated with artificial intelligence. Okay, so that is the beast system, okay? So the people of the earth will be mandated and required and forced to worship the Antichrist and his image and his system. When you take that system, you pledge your allegiance to Satan and the Antichrist. This is why God's word says, if you take that mark, even if you're born again and you take that mark in your hand or your right hand, it is, in my opinion, it is the two unforgivable sins. Now, we know that one unforgivable sin is the blasphemy of the Holy Spirit. The second one, no one talks about this, but in the book of Revelation, it says that if you take that mark, you are damned for eternity. You're done. There's no revisions. There's no redemption. There's no forgiveness. You're done. You have completely pledged your allegiance to Satan. So this is a serious matter, guys. And this is the beast system. I just broke that down. It took, 5 minutes to do that. Now, I believe, as you've heard me talk about, politics, as much as I hate politics, they will play a major role in building the framework of this system, because regardless of who the party is and who is the head of that party and who is the president of that party, whether it's Republican or Democrat or independent, it has to. Now, I'm talking about here in the United States. I understand there may be people listening outside the United States, and that includes your leaders as well. They all play a role in this. There's many players to this game, okay? They all play their role. And they are going to help create the framework and blueprint for this future beast system. So we got some new information today. Now, everybody knows that Trump has talked about this big, beautiful bill. His big $2 talking points this week has been his success in Iran with bombing the nuclear facilities. And then the second one is this big, beautiful bill. And he claims these two together is going to create us, or it's going to initiate us into the golden age of peace, prosperity, and safety. Now, I want to show you this report. This is from InfoWars. Rogan exposes AI regulation ban slipped into Trump's big, beautiful bill. All right, top podcast host Joe Rogan this week broke down a provision in the controversial big, beautiful bill currently going through Congress, pointing out that there's a section that prohibits state and local governments from passing any laws regulating artificial intelligence for the next 10 years. Now, guys, I would play the clip, but I've heard from other podcasters that the Joe Rogan experience or their whole team is big about copyright. So I don't want to risk playing the clip and getting taken down. So I want to give you a synopsis of what he's talking about here. Rogan brought out in his podcast that there is a provision that's buried within this big, beautiful bill act called, or what is called HR 1. This in this bill imposes a 10-year moratorium on a state and local government's ability, listen to this, to regulate artificial intelligence, AI model systems, or automated decision systems. This could stifle, state-level protections against AI-related harms, while supporters claim it is necessary to prevent a patchwork of regulations that could hinder U.S. competitiveness in the global AI race. Now, guys, I want to break that down again. Again, Rogan is telling us that buried in this 450-word clause tucked in section 43201 of the big, beautiful bill that's passing through Congress is this provision a 10-year moratorium on state and local government's ability to regulate artificial intelligence, AI models, systems, or automated decision systems. Now, why is that? Because if that provision, if they put that in place, it would stifle state-level protections against AI-related harms, while supporters claims it is necessary. Basically, here's the bottom line. They're not going to put in that regulation because Stargate is a major player in the White House that is using artificial intelligence to fulfill their goal and their vision of, again, creating Stargate. So this shouldn't be a shock to you. Again, tucked within this section 43201 is a 450-word clause that prohibits states and their political subdivisions from enforcing or enacting any laws that limit, restrict, or otherwise regulate artificial intelligence models, artificial intelligence systems, or automated decision systems for a decade after the bill's enactment. So once this bill is signed into place, in this clause, hidden in this bill, it will allow 10 years of unregulated AI. Now, guys, if this doesn't make you say, if this doesn't ring alarm bells for you, then I don't know what else will. But now, let me explain to you why. Because all these guys, Sam Altman, Zuckerberg, even Zuckerberg's come out and did this. He's talked about this. Elon Musk has come out and warned about this. Bill Gates has come out and warned about this. All of the elites, all of the innovators have said that AI, if it's not regulated in the next, pretty much now, if it's not regulated now, and it's definitely not regulated within the next couple of years, we could get to a point where humanity itself is in danger of becoming extinct because of AI taking over the planet. Now, we have the ability under the Trump administration to put a regulation on artificial intelligence model systems, automated decision systems. Are you hearing me? And decision system making, but yet it's not going to happen. Again, I need you to understand the reason why it's not going to happen is because they know what the future is going to bring with the creation of Stargate. It has to be unregulated because, friends, think about this. In order for them to fulfill what their desire is with Stargate, I'm telling you, there's going to be unethical, unmoral things that are going to take place behind dark rooms. You cannot convince me otherwise. Just the fact that they're going to take people's medical records, they're going to create custom-made vaccines, and the list goes on, is enough to make anyone be alarmed. But let me read on here. According to post on X, Rogan expressed concern about the provision, questioned its implications for governance, and suggesting it could, quote, pave the way for unchecked AI development. One post noted that Rogan asking, isn't there a part of the big beautiful bill that talks about the government being run by AI? This reflects, again, a broader public unease about the provision, scope, and intent, particularly when it comes that it could nullify existing state laws and prevent new ones from addressing AI-related issues like deep fakes, algorithmic discrimination, and child safety. Those are some of the ones that come up that are the main points. But again, I need you to grasp this and pay attention because I don't think we fully understand. Now, let me give you we're going to watch this video because I want you to keep in the back of your mind that we had the opportunity under the Trump administration to put regulations on AI before it gets to this point. And here's where we're going. Watch this.
This mission is too important for me to allow you to jeopardize it.
I don't know what you're talking about, Hal.
I know that you and Frank were planning to disconnect me, and I'm afraid that's something I cannot allow to happen.
For decades, Hollywood has imagined what might happen if AI went rogue. From Stanley Kubrick in 2001, A Space Odyssey, to The Terminator, to Ex Machina. But my next guest says this isn't science fiction anymore. Writing an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal warning that AI has learned to bypass commands from humans when asked to shut itself down, even resorting to blackmail in some cases. He adds, the models already preserve themselves. The next task is teaching them to preserve what we value. With me now is Judd Rosenblatt, CEO of the software development company Agency Enterprise Studio. Judd, explain to our viewers what has been happening with these AI models that are disobeying commands that has you so concerned. Are they really even blackmailing people?
Yes, thank you for having me. They are, in fact, blackmailing people and threatening to reveal fictitious affairs that AI company employees they think are having. So yes, this is happening in pre-deployment testing just to make sure that the models are safe before they're released. And these behaviors are fairly concerning because it means that as AI gets more and more powerful, and we just don't actually understand how AI models work in the first place, the top AI engineers in the world who create these things, we have no idea how AI actually works. We don't know how to look inside it and understand what's going on.
Now, what? Did you hear that? The top creators of these things have no idea how they truly work. Wow, that's not terrifying.
And so it's getting a lot more powerful, and we need to be fairly concerned that behaviors like this may get way worse as it gets more powerful.
Talk to me. What was the blackmailing incident that even happened in the pre-deployment?
Well, so basically, the Anthropic's Claude 4 Opus model was told that it would be replaced, and it told what it told the AI engineer who it thought was working on it was in 84% of tests that it would reveal an affair that it thought that employee was having because it had access to the emails that it thought that employee had. So it threatened blackmail over this affair in order to not be shut down.
Wow.
I mean, the manipulation seems to me to be almost a human quality that I'm surprised that AI would be able to personify. And yet, I have to wonder what the solution could be to prevent this very thing from happening.
That would be regulations.
Well, luckily, the solution is that making AI be more likely to do what we want and be aligned with American goals and interests is fundamentally just a science, research, and development problem. And we have barely invested anything in this in the first place. And to the extent that we have invested anything, those investments have actually led to the greatest gains in AI capabilities as well. So if we invest more in actually trying to solve this problem, doing the fundamental science R&D will make a lot of breakthroughs and make it much more likely that AI does do what we want and be aligned with our goals.
I want you to listen to what President Trump's AI czar, David Sachs, what he had to say about some of the things you're warning about. Listen.
There is some non-zero risk of AI growing into a superintelligence that's beyond our control. They have a name for that. They call it X risk. X risk is not the only kind of risk. I would say that China winning the AI race is a huge risk. I don't really want to see a CCP AI running the world. And if you hobble our own...
But that's going to happen. In Revelation 13, if AI is incorporated into the image of the beast, that's exactly what's going to happen. Whoever is the government and the leadership of Revelation 13, mid-trib, the Antichrist and his rule, that's who's going to be in governmentship, who's governing the world. He's going to be a world leader working with the false prophet. This is the technology, I'm telling you guys, that will be incorporated into this image of the beast. So that's, again, we're just showing you the framework, guys, that's preparing this. And isn't it interesting that we have the ability to govern this and it's not happening? So don't get mad at Trump. I'm not throwing Trump under the bus here. I'm saying, again, when you see the big picture of this, guys, it really makes sense because it has to happen to fulfill prophecy, regardless of who's in control of this.
Innovation, our own AI efforts in the name of stomping out every possibility of X risk, then you probably end up losing the AI race to China because they're not going to abide by those same regulations.
What's your response?
True.
Well, so I think David Sachs makes a major mistake there, which is that he thinks that investing in alignment actually hobbles American abilities, when in fact, history has shown it is the exact opposite. The biggest breakthroughs in alignment, such as reinforcement learning with human feedback and constitutional AI, have actually led to the greatest capabilities gains as well. And we know that China is investing billions of dollars in alignment. They don't want to lose control to misaligned AI, and that's also going to make their AI more and more powerful. So in fact, if we want to win this race with China, we ought to heavily invest in alignment rather than burying our heads in the sand.
Fascinating to think about that. Well, how about this big, beautiful bill?
Alignment.
As it's called, that was passed by the House. It includes a provision that would prohibit individual states from regulating AI for a decade. What consequences would happen if that is signed into law?
It would mean that there ought to be great federal policy about AI and make sure that we wind up making the right decisions here in the long run and win the race.
Judd Rosenblatt, thank you for joining us. Scary yet illuminating.
Thanks for having me. I'm confident that we can solve it as well if we invest in solving it.
All right, now let's move on over here. I want to show you another article. Now this is from, because I know everybody, because we played a video from CNN, people lose their mind. So now we're going to bring a conservative angle to this. And I want to show you this article. This is from The Hill. I want to read this. Trump knocks down barriers around personal data, raising alarm. Let's see what this is about. All right, the Trump administration is shattering norms around the handling of America's personal and sometimes private information, dismantling barriers around data in the name of government efficiency and rooting out fraud. Privacy experts say the moves bring the country closer to a, quote, surveillance state, increase the government's vulnerability to cyber attacks, and risk pushing people away from public services. I want to highlight on a surveillance state, because that's really what we're talking about today. The Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, has sought and nearly always received access to Social Security numbers, addresses, medical histories, tax histories, welfare benefits, bank accounts, immigration statuses, and federal employee databases. These moves have shattered walls and have long kept data within agencies that collect it. John Ackerley, a former technology policy advisor under former President George Bush and founder of data security firm Vitro, said government agencies need to strike a balance in handling data. Foundationally, more information being shared more widely can provide greater insight. Bureaucracy shuts down access to information, he added, but that does not mean that there should be unfettered access. All right, groups such as the ACLU see the risk abuse as outweighing any potential gains. All right, quote, we should be limiting federal agencies to access data about us only to the extent that they need to perform their duties for the American people. This is according to a senior policy council on surveillance, privacy, and technology at the ACLU. Quote, there's no reason why these data silos need to be broken down. Despite outrage from Democrats and some pushback from the courts, the Trump administration has charged ahead. President Trump signed an executive order keeping his promise to eliminate information silos and streamline data collection across all agencies to increase government efficiency and save hard-earned taxpayer dollars. Trump's executive order in late March gave agency heads 30 days to rescind or modify guidance that served as a barrier to intricacy sharing of non-classified information. That included federally funded state program data such as Medicaid, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, and block grants. On May the 6th, the U.S. Department of Agriculture asked states to hand over the data, look at this, of 42 million people receiving SNAP benefits, including their names, dates of birth, social security numbers, and addresses. This request is currently paused amid legal challenges. Data sharing also has been a divisive part of Trump's hardline immigration agenda. On the 13th of June, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services handed over personal data of millions of Medicaid enrollees in sanctuary states and cities, including California, Washington State, Illinois, and Washington, D.C., to the Department of Homeland Security. California, now I know, guys, I know there's going to be kickback on this. I can already feel it, but I'm going to give you another angle to this. Just hold on for a second. California, Gavin Newsom, in a statement at the time, called the move, quote, potentially unlawful, particularly given numerous headlines highlighting potential improper federal use of personal information and federal actions to target the personal information of Americans. The IRS and DHS also struck a deal in April that enables the IRS to share the current addresses of migrants who have been ordered to removed from the country within the past 90 days. Again, in May, a judge gave the deal a green light. All right, to summarize, the IRS must disclose limited taxpayer identity information, howbeit the taxpayer's name and address, to assist another agency in criminal investigations and proceedings if the agency has satisfied these statutory prerequisites in written requests. U.S. District Judge wrote, ruling on a lawsuit filed by 4 immigration organizations. U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services has also begun to increase its social media surveillance. Particularly a post it deems, quote, anti-American, according to the Associated Press. And another win for the administration, the Supreme Court on June the 6th overturned a lower court injunction that temporarily limited DOJ access to highly personal Social Security Administration data. The decision was unsigned, decided in a 6-3 split along party lines. This overturns decades of precedent on the Privacy Act of 1974, which requires written consent from an individual to share identifiable information. The liberal judge dissented, arguing DOJ failed to justify its need to access SSA data. The SSA stores data. Look at this. The SSA, again, that's the Social Security Administration data, stores data on Social Security numbers, bank accounts, retirement benefits, work authorization status, income histories, medical records, and more. 69 million. All right, now again, if you're still with this and didn't get mad and tune out, here's the point, guys. Again, what have I said for years now? You guys that are regular viewers, you've heard me say this. The beast system has to be palatable. It has to be desirable. It has to be wanted. It is not going to be something that is going to be not only forced, because the only people that's going to be forced to take this, the people that are not going to comply, or in my opinion, are people who understand what the beast system is. They have a revelation of it. Now, we could debate all day. Are these people that has been left behind, the rapture's taking place, they're left behind, they understand what this beast system is because they have understanding of this, because some preachers had told them, some of you guys have warned them, they're your family members or your co-workers, whatever the case may be, they're in the tribulation, they've been left behind, and they have an understanding, they have a revelation of what this system is, and so they're flat out refusing it. Okay? Then it will be forced. They're going to have to either take the mark or they're going to die. Or for the other angle, theologically speaking, for all of you guys who don't believe in the rapture, you don't believe in rapture, we'll go with your theory. And we'll say that all of humanity comes to this pinnacle in history. And the born-again Christians, that because they weren't raptured, because, again, according to your theology, there is no rapture or there is no pre-trib rapture, now they're faced with, are they going to take the mark of the beast? Well, again, same concept, guys. They understand the book of Revelation. They understand prophecy. They understand the mark of the beast. They're going to, same decision. Take the mark or they die. So either way, it doesn't matter how you slice this, it's going to come out with the same outcome. The point is that there's going to be those individuals that will be forced to take it, whoever that group is in the earth. Or I believe personally, the vast majority of humanity that will be on the earth at that time is going to willfully line up to take the mark of the beast, because it will promise them everything. It will promise them, I'm going to say it. It's going to promise them peace, prosperity, and security and convenience. And when they have been convinced by commercials, social media, presidential addresses, celebrities, everybody that's going to get on board and paint this massive picture of how wonderful it is, kind of like they did the vaccine. Oh, y'all hearing me? Remember that in 2020? When that thing came out, every celebrity was on board, every athlete was on the board, the president was on board, world leaders was on board, every influential individual was on board, and they convinced the masses of the world, it's safe, it's effective, take it, it's the thing to do. And look at the outcome of that. Look how many people bought that hook, line, and sinker. Same ordeal with the mark of the beast. They are going to wrap this thing up in such a beautiful present with such a nice bow on it. It will be so desirable that people will be lined up around the block to take this thing, because it will promise them the world. Now, here you have, think about this. Now I'm going to bring this home to this. Now we have an administration that's promising us we're going to get to the bottom of government fraud. We're going to get to the bottom of it. And we're going to set up this system, and we're going to dig deep, and we're going to go into the privacy of American citizens. We're going to go beyond boundaries that no other administration has ever done. We're going to break through barriers, break through regulations. We're going to do all these things in the name of, ready, peace, prosperity, security, the whole 9 yards. It's for the benefit and for the betterment of America. And people are open. Do whatever you got to do, Mr. President. Get into my personal information, get into my Social Security, get into my bank account, get into all this stuff. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not too happy with that. You may be okay with the government being able to get into every sector of your life. But now let me go here and let's talk about critics of this expanded data sharing say the moves present a range of risk. Let's talk about that. From government overreach to higher stakes for cyber defense and pushing people away from accessing public services. One assistant law professor said the elimination of data silos will bring an enormous amount of information under one umbrella, raising concerns about who can access it and for what purposes. Wow. When the government has unchecked surveillance powers, think about it, they inevitably are abused to target people who have disfavorable political views or otherwise disliked by people holding power. Now I'm going to highlight that, and here's why. Oh yeah, y'all know me, guys. I don't play these stupid political games. I get all the Republicans and conservatives mad at me, and then I'll get the liberals and Democrats mad at me. But we talk about prophecy. That's our agenda. We're not here to try to promote a candidate. Those days are over. There was a time in the past I did that until my eyes opened and realized that the theatrics of this, we're all being played. There's an agenda behind this. Okay, I want to show you this again. I need you to pay attention to this really closely, because if this was a liberal, democratic administration in office doing this right here, all you conservatives and Republicans would be freaking out and losing your mind. But because it's Trump and because it's the conservatives and the Republicans, it's okay, because it's for our better. It's for our good. But let me bring this up again. Again, this assistant law professor said that, quote, the elimination of data silos will bring an enormous amount of information under one umbrella, raising concerns about who can access it and for what purposes. Listen to what he says right here. When the government, again, doesn't matter who's in charge, whether it's Trump, Harris, whoever, when the government has unchecked surveillance powers, they inevitably are abused to target people who have disfavorable political views or are otherwise disliked by people holding power. Both parties are guilty of this. When Biden was in office, listen to me, he did this. He went after opponents who had different political views. He used his powers, remember this, to oppress certain individuals, even went as far as affecting their banking. There were certain banks that was putting restrictions on conservatives. They were not allowing them to make certain transactions, and they were putting limitations. He went after certain religious organizations and groups. So yes, the Biden administration did that. Yes, the Obama administration did that. And again, now, and to say that the Republican Party is not guilty of that, guys, you're being naive, because they will do the same thing. This is politics 101, and it's ridiculous, and this is why I don't like it. All right, the New York Times reported that Palantir, the data analytics and artificial intelligence firm founded by Alex Karp and Peter Thiel, has been contracted, yes, they've been contracted to centralize and organize data, exacerbating concerns about who gets access to these troves of personal information. Remember, the Trump administration has contracted this company called Palantir. We did a whole podcast on this. And they're a mass surveillance company. Okay? Palantir issued a rebuttal to these allegations, saying it's dedicated to, quote, privacy and civil liberties. A single centralized repository of personal data could also be a gold mine for hackers, either within the country or from adversaries such as China and Russia. All right, I want to read it. This is from the executive director of Immigrant Solidarity, DuPage, one of the plaintiffs in a case recently that said these moves were creating a framework of fear. Listen to what he says. These databases have all your information, right? We're watching you. We're monitoring you. We're Big Brother. Wow. Let me say that again. These databases have all your information. We're watching. We're monitoring. We're Big Brother. Now, I don't know if you saw this, but RFK Jr. has a desire to fit every American with a tracking device as he hunts for causes of cancer and autism. Let's read a little bit about this, because this one, we shared this on our main Facebook page, and we got a lot of feedback on this. Let's read this. RFK Jr. wants to fit all Americans with a tracking device within the next 4 years. Again, another individual in the Trump administration. The Health and Human Services Secretary revealed his plans during a White House hearing yesterday, saying the devices like Apple Watch, and I've got one, I will be honest, I've got one on my arm, Fitbit, Whoop, and Oura Ring were, quote, key to the MAHA agenda. He said the technology could, quote, help people lose weight and exercise more regularly, as well as take control of their health and encourage good judgments about their diets, about their physical activity, and about the way they live their lives. Now, guys, stop. Again, what did we talk about? What makes it desirable. We got to get people to be convinced, well, you need this. Now you say, well, hold on now, Brother Ricky, you have a smartwatch. Yes, but guys, I'll be honest with you. It's kind of like my smartphone. There's all kinds of crap on my phone and apps and all kinds of stuff I don't use. And there's all kinds of things on this watch that I don't use. Now, I tell time with it. Now, I do monitor my exercises for my benefit and not for the world. And I don't want you, I could care less if you know what I'm doing as far as my exercise, my routine, how many calories I'm burning, my heart rate. So for personal use, sure, I've got these things, but I'm not good with the intent for this to be fitted on all Americans for the intent of tracking for 4 years. This is where it gets a little bit creepy, okay? So we could have the same argument with these phones. These phones, guys, have the ability to track us as well. Smart TVs can hear you. They can hear you. They have a microphone in them. So again, where do you want to stop with this? I'm just saying, don't miss the point I'm making here. The point is, they are trying to get you used to a system of tracking, surveillance. All of this, again, will play a role in what's coming in the future. Let's read on here.
In recent years, American innovators have created and improved wearable devices so that not only are consumers able to better engage with their health through monitoring data, but they are able to share that data with providers. I believe American consumers, in line with the 21st Century Cures Act, should be able to access these innovative wellness tools. Secretary Kennedy, do you agree that consumers should continue to have access to these tools?
Absolutely. In fact, we're about to launch one of the biggest advertising campaigns in HHS history to encourage Americans to use wearables. It's a way of people can take control over their own health. They can take responsibility. They can see, as you know, what food is doing to their glucose levels, their heart rates, and a number of other metrics as they eat it. And they can begin to make good judgments about their diet, about their physical activity, about the way that they live their lives. We think that wearables are a key to the MAHA agenda, making America healthy again, and we are going to, my vision is that every American is wearing a wearable within 4 years.
Did I not say that in order to make the mark of the beast and the beast system palatable and desirable, when that day comes and that time comes, whoever is in leadership and in control of this system. Now, the main players are going to be the Antichrist and the false prophet. We know that. But there's no doubt there's going to be people under them that's working for them. And I'm going to show you more about that in just a second. But there's going to be other leaders. There's going to be people in positions. There's going to be innovators, because a lot of those innovators are going to be handpicked by the false prophet to create the image of the beast. Remember that? Revelation 13. So all of these individuals are going to, like I said earlier, they're going to create these campaigns. They're going to create these fundraisers. All the celebrities will jump on board, and they're going to make everybody want to have one of these devices. And here it is, right here in front of you. It tells us that he is ready to launch one of the biggest advertising campaigns in history in order to encourage more people to wear these devices. The health secretary said officials were exploring how the government, how the government could pay for the devices for some Americans. We'll pay you to wear these things so we can track you. It is the latest proposal in his Make America Healthy Again mission and comes amid his vow to find the cause of and solve the rising rates of cancer, chronic disease, and autism in young people. But some commentators call the move unusual for the health secretary, who has previously railed against a, quote, surveillance state. Wow. How about that? RFK Jr. revealed his plans to the Energy and Commerce Health Subcommittee yesterday, saying, quote, we think that wearables are a key to Make America Healthy agenda, making America healthy again. It's a way people can take control of their own health. They can see what food is doing to their glucose levels, their heart rates, and a number of other metrics as they eat, and they can begin to make good judgments about their diet, about their physical activity, and about the way they live their lives. Now, when asked about whether the federal government might fund the devices, he added, quote, you know, the Ozempic is costing $1,300 a month. If you can achieve the same thing with a wearable $80 device, it's a lot better for the American people. Quote, we're exploring ways of making sure that those costs can be paid for. Latest surveys suggest that more than 40% of American adults, equivalent to 103 million people, already use a wearable device, about the same percentage of Americans struggling with obesity. There are more than 38 brands and hundreds of devices to choose from on the market, again ranging from $99 to $800 as a one-time purchase to more than $200 per year on a subscription model. Again, these include watches, rings, glucose monitor devices that are injected into a user's skin and remain in place for up to 15 days. What? Did you see that? Glucose monitor devices injected into a user's skin. Now, I know that's for diabetics, but again, keep in mind, the image of the mark of the beast will be in the right hand and in the forehead. Now, of course, as always, guys, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. What are your thoughts on this proposal for every individual, every American to wear these and to be tracked? Again, now keep in mind, this is coming from an individual who's on the same administration, who has a contract with a company that does mass surveillance and also has contracts with innovators, who's creating Stargate, who's got a massive database of all the information of every American. We just we went through all this stuff. Now, let's talk about what's old Zuckerberg been up to lately. Well, let's look at this. Well, according to a new report, he is handpicking a AI team to create a new superintelligence.
Mark Zuckerberg reportedly making a new push to try and achieve artificial general intelligence. Bloomberg says that the Meta CEO has been frustrated with his company's progress in the AI race so far and is putting together what's being called a superintelligence group inside Meta.
Superintelligence group inside of Meta. Again, don't give you any. Again, if you know prophecy, guys, this gives you those prophetic. The alarms are going off. Because again, let me show you this, guys. Consequently, this is the same thing that the false prophet of Revelation 13 is going to do. Revelation 13:14 says he will deceive those who dwell on the earth by those signs which he was granted to do in the sight of the beast. And here I've highlighted this for you, telling those who dwell on the earth to make an image to the beast. So again, the false prophet will handpick his people that he will choose to create this image of the beast. Let's go back and listen to this. And here we have Zuckerberg forming his team to create super AI.
The report says that Zuckerberg's goal is to beat other tech companies to reaching the point where AI can perform as well as humans do, so that it can incorporate the technology into its range of products. According to reports over the last few days, Meta is in talks to invest billions of dollars in an AI startup, Scale AI. Bloomberg says that Zuckerberg is personally working to recruit dozens of people for Meta's new effort, driven by frustration over the response to the latest version of the company's Llama large language model. It's very similar to what we've heard from Sergey Brin, getting kind of reinvigorated by this a couple of years ago, actually, and building up and spending a lot, running that team himself. AI is definitely the thing that has all these original coders super excited, super competitive about, and Zuckerberg's apparently moving desks in the office so that all of these people can sit right by him.
Well, hurry up. It'll be interesting to see. It seems quantum. Like we made that quantum leap, and now we're really moving quickly. We'll see.
Yes, sir. We are moving quickly, aren't we? We're thrusting ahead. What's the end game? What's it look like? What's the end marker? I just showed you. This is where we're heading. What, are you awake yet? Are you paying attention? How many of your friends and family are going to still sit around and laugh at you? When you talk to them about Bible prophecy, you talk about God, you talk about the Bible, you talk about Jesus, you talk about the end times, they laugh you, they scorn you, they mock you, they ridicule you, and you show them this stuff. Eventually, guys, they're going to open their eyes. I'm telling you, seeds are being planted. Don't give up. Don't get frustrated. Don't throw in the towel. Don't get discouraged. Keep planting the seeds. All right, let me get to this last point. I want to show you this. All right, look, now this is older. This was last month, but I want to talk about this just for a second. J.D. Vance against Vice President J.D. Vance issued a new warning and warned that the era of uncontested U.S. dominance is over. In other words, translation, the era of America being the superpower of the world, that era of dominance is over. And even the vice president of the United States. Now, isn't this interesting? Because this is contrary to what the president says. The president is about make America great again. We're entering the era of the golden age and all this stuff. But yet the vice president, his right-hand man, is saying that the era of U.S. dominance is over. Now, here's what I think is interesting. I'm going to close with this. I'm gonna give you a little bit of a snippet of a message that I'm putting together. We may do this tomorrow night on Friday, June the 27th. I'm going to talk about, in our last podcast, we talked about the next big thing to watch for. Go back and listen to it. We did it on Tuesday night. The next big thing to look for is the expansion of the Abrahamic Accords. Now, we're going to show you that this has now been confirmed that this is the next big thing. This is the next big major milestone, the continuation of the Abrahamic Accords. Now, here's what's interesting, and I'm not going to go into detail about this because we're going to do a whole message. It would take me a full podcast to talk about this, but I'm going to give you a little bit of a snippet of it. In the book of Revelation and the book of Daniel, so Daniel and John both saw into the future that during the time of the rising of the Antichrist that will emerge to power, both Daniel and John saw that there would be 10 kings in the earth. There would be 10 kings that are rulers over 10 kingdoms. Okay, Daniel saw this. In fact, it was Nebuchadnezzar who had the dream where he had the 10 toes. Remember that? There was 10 toes. And so Daniel saw that, and he said, out of the 10 will rise the little horn. So watch this. Those 10 kingdoms have to be in place before the Antichrist can come to power. You can't have the Antichrist come to power now and not have the 10 kings in place. Are you hearing me? That's out of order. Because Daniel saw the little horn rising up among them. Now, there's language that goes back and forth. There's 10 horns, there's 10 toes. They represent the same thing. There are 10 kings. John saw in the book of Revelation, there will be 10 kings that will surrender their sovereignty and their power over to the Antichrist in 1 hour's time. Wow. So, is it possible, I'm going to leave you this cliffhanger, that we are about to see the framework be created to introduce the 10 kings of Bible prophecy? Will these be 5 and 5, 5 from the east, 5 from the west? I don't know. Will it be 10 kings or kingdoms from the Middle East? And out of those 10, once those 10 are put in position, you better watch out, because out of those 10 will rise the Antichrist. Those 10 will eventually completely surrender their power and their kingdoms over to the beast in 1 hour. Now, we'll break all this down in a whole lot more detail in our next podcast. But I think this is interesting. Now you say, what in the world has that got to do with J.D. Vance's statement? Because here's the point, guys. America is considered a superpower. And in order for Bible prophecy to come to fruition, all these superpowers have to get out of the way. They either have to collapse or they have to surrender their sovereignty over to another kingdom that will emerge in the last days. So I'm not surprised by this. I don't think, this is why when I hear this stuff about we're going back to the golden age, it's going to be uncontested, it's going to be peace and prosperity and safety and all this stuff. If you know prophecy, guys, you know that that's laughable. That will only be for a short, it may be a short honeymoon session. But then reality is going to come in. Then 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 is going to come, and that's sudden destruction shall come upon them suddenly, as birth pangs upon a woman in travail. So guys, I hope this has been a blessing to you tonight. Again, don't forget to get our free app. It's available on Apple and Android devices. You can pick it up today, download it, hit yes to push notifications, and you can get yours today. Again, that's available on Apple and Android devices. Also, guys, if this ministry blesses you, encourages you, equips you, and you'd like to support us by a gift of any amount or partner with us, you can do that two different ways. You can give electronically through the app, through the website, various different ways. Right there on YouTube, you can do super chats, you can do subscriptions, there's a support there that's pinned at the top. You can click on that link. It's going to take you to where you can do all this. Or you can give by check or money order at End Time Headlines, P.O. Box 1391, Monroe, Georgia 30655. So we're going to sign off for tonight, guys. I'm not really sure what we're going to talk about tomorrow. We may talk about what we talked about tonight, this 10 king things, the possibility of this. If I have time to be able to develop all that, to get it ready, then sure, we'll talk about that. If not, that's fine. We'll put it off and we'll talk about it next week. But we'll have something for you tomorrow night on Friday, June the 27th. So until we see you guys on the next one, I pray the Lord bless you, keep you, and may his countenance shine upon you. We'll see you then.
Thank you for listening to the End Time Headlines podcast. We pray that you've been blessed and equipped by today's message. For more information about how you can help partner with our ministry, please visit endtimeheadlines.org.